Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day again. What a pleasure to be with you guys. Today in Israel, they celebrate 72 years of Israel's independence and right to have a state. And although one of the greatest things that happened after the Holocaust was that Israel has its own army and could defend itself and is able to protect Jews all over the world. I remember when the Rebbe always spoke about this, he says that a Jew has to remember that we're not celebrating 72 years of Israel for the Jewish people. A Jew has to remember that Israel is ours because thousands of years ago God promised Abraham that the land of Israel is the Jewish people's. And then God promised again to Jacob. And then God told Joshua and Moses and Joshua and King David came and conquered it. Our history in Israel is thousands of years old. And the Rebbe always said when you come to the UN and you say, we're here 72 years, then the Arabs say, big deal, we were there before. But when we say our history with Israel is thousands of years old, and God gave the gift of Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, to the Jewish people. And when we remember that it's thousands of years old, and also it's not that the Jewish people conquered it, it's that God gave it. When someone conquers something, it can be taken away, but when God gives a gift, it's eternal. And the connection of the Jewish people to the Holy Land of Israel is eternal. And today we should remember and celebrate our gift that Hashem gave us thousands of years ago. And remember that spreads to Judea and Samaria. God gave us Judea and Samaria too. And whatever God gave us is not ours to give away. It's God's. And if it's God's, it's eternal. No one Jew or no one person has the right to take away the gift that God has given us. Anyways, talking about Eretz Yisrael and the land of Israel, I think it's important to speak about what makes it special and what's the thing we need more than anything. And that is always we speak about unity, about one Am Yisrael, one community, one love, about tolerating each other and tolerating our opinions. And yesterday I spoke about this, and I told you that today I would speak not just about my message I gave yesterday, but I would go even a step further. Today I want to speak about what the Torah says, Lo sisnas achicha bilvavecha, don't hate your fellow in your heart. Rebuke them, tell them the truth if you feel bad. And then the Torah says, Lo sikom v'lo yisikar, don't take revenge and don't hold a grudge. What's the difference between revenge and a grudge? And what is the Torah telling us? So the rabbis say like this. Rashi gives an example, but I'll modernize it a little bit. If I come to my friend and I say, hey, he got a brand new Porsche, and I say, do me a favor, could you borrow me the Porsche? And he says, no, I don't want to. Then the next day he comes over to me. I just got a brand new iPhone 11 with all the gadgets, and he says, hey, can I use your iPhone? So I say, no way. Yesterday I asked you for the car, you didn't give it. Why would I give you my iPhone? That's called revenge. Nikama. Just because he didn't give it to me and I don't want to give it to me, give it back, give him my phone, that's called revenge, and the Torah doesn't allow it. If you do revenge, you get a sin. Then there's another option. I came to my friend and asked him for his new Porsche, and he said no. Now he comes to me and says, could I use your brand new iPhone? Or could I use your car? And I say, you know what? I'm not going to be a schmo like you. You didn't give it to me. I'm not going to be like you. I'm going to give it to you anyways. That's called a grudge. By harboring a grudge and telling him, you know what? I'm not going to be like you. That's forbidden in the Torah. So the question, many commentaries discuss this, is it's not so fair. The first guy, when I asked him for the Bima, when I asked him for his Porsche, he said no. That's okay. But when I don't want to give him something that I have, I get a sin? Or the fact that I give him my car or I give him my iPhone, I just tell him I'm not going to be like him, I get a sin? What kind of, how is that fear? Two of the famous Jewish sages, grandchildren of Rashi, Bali Tosfot, give an explanation, and Maimonides speaks about this. And he says like this, look, if you have a brand new car and I ask you for it, the Torah doesn't oblige you to give it to me. You could have many reasons why you don't want to give it to me. You're worried it's brand new, and you're worried it's going to get into an accident. You're worried about your insurance. You're OCD that thing. You don't want anyone touching it. There could be many reasons why you don't want to give it to me. The Torah doesn't oblige you to give it to me. If you're a good friend, if we're close friends, then you have a reason. It might be nice to explain why you're not giving it, but you don't have any obligation to give it to me. But the moment you ask me for something and I say, no, I'm not giving it to you because you didn't give it to me, that's where the problem arises. Because the moment I say that, that means I'm harboring a grudge. I have animosity in me towards you. I'm upset, I'm angry. That, the Torah says, is forbidden. If I don't want to give it back to you because it's brand new, that's one thing. But the moment I harbor a grudge and I say, how could I give it to me? He didn't give it to me. That means there's anger. That means there's hate. And the same thing with a grudge. Even if I give it to you, the fact that I say I'm not going to be like you says, this guy is, something's burning in his heart. He's angry. The Torah is answering us and telling us that if you want to lead a happy life, if you want to lead a life of love, of joy, of Judaism, you can't bear grudges. You can't have anger towards someone else. A wise man once said that having a grudge or being angry at someone is allowing someone that you despise live in your mind rent-free. The grudges we have allow us to be angry. Don't allow us to live our life full of joy, full of happiness. I'm going to get revenge. I'm never going to forget. We all have the person who wronged us, who hurt us, and we say, I'm never going to forget it, and the day's going to come, and I'm going to get back at him. And the whole time you're thinking about that, and you're angry, and you're upset. No one says you don't have to wrong or right. The Torah doesn't say there shouldn't be justice. Someone has to apologize. You can demand apology. But don't be angry. Don't carry that grudge around with you. Where's that going to get you? What's that going to do for you? You know, they say the story, they say that being angry and harboring a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other guy to die. The anger, the grudge is poison within you. By you allowing that to fester, to manifest itself within you, what do you gain? You don't live a happy life. On the contrary, our brain, our mind, doesn't allow itself to fully live and enjoy itself when all we're thinking about is the next guy. You know, Simon Wiesenthal, who was the famous Nazi hunter, says a story. And he says the story about how when he was in the camps, and someone asked him for $10, and I'll give it to you back. I wanted to borrow $10. And he says, sure, no problem. I'll give it to you back in a month, the guy says. A month comes and the guy says, I didn't get my allowance. Another month comes and the guy says, I didn't get my package, etc., etc. On and on. This goes on for a year. At the end of the year, the guy is about to leave. It was already after liberation, this whole story. The guy was about to leave, and he had his passport or whatever, his ticket to leave, and he comes back and he says, here, I want to give you $10 back. After a year of waiting and badgering him, although he said he'll only take it for a month. So Simon Wiesenthal says that he looked at the guy and he says, here, keep your $10. For $10, I'm not going to let you change your opinion about, I'm not going to let you change my opinion about you. And it's like, in a way, it was more of a story of laughter. How he laughed at this guy, gave him an opinion his whole time, the way he acted. He says, this guy's never going to pay me back. He's a liar. He's a thief. And then he wanted at the end to give it. He says, forget it. Let it be already. I'm not taking it. But the truth is, Simon Wiesenthal was wrong. I'm not here to judge him. But imagine, it was the cheapest way. For $10, He could have gotten $10 and he could have got rid of a grudge. What better thing do you need than that? And that's what the Torah says. Lo yisikan v'lo yisitar. Don't begrudge. Don't be angry. Don't let it fester within you. What does the Torah say right before that? Lo sisna zachicha b'levavecha. If there's an issue, speak to your friend. Deal with it. Rebuke him. Tell him, why did you hurt me? Why did you pain me? Apologize. But don't be angry within you. Don't hold a grudge. You know, it was June 24, 1922. And Walter Rathenau, who was the first foreign minister of Germany and a Jew, was driving from his house to his office. And he asked his driver to put the convertible down. And it was a beautiful day, and as they were driving, a car pulled up on the side, and there were two terrorists, right-wing extremists, anti-Semites, who pulled up on the side. One of them pulled out a gun and shot Rathenau, and the other one threw a grenade, which exploded, and Rathenau was injured terribly. His driver tried to help him, rushed him to the hospital, tried to hold him, but it was too late. He passed away. The first Jewish foreign minister and a general foreign minister of Germany. The German police went on the biggest manhunt in the history of Germany to try to find these murderers who killed the first foreign minister. And they ended up catching them, and they had a shootout. One of them got killed, and the other one committed suicide. But then there was the driver. I think the driver's name was Ernst Teckel. Ernst Teckel was the driver who drove these two murderers to kill Rathenau. And his mother turned him in. And he was in prison. And he was going to be sentenced. He was going to go on trial. And then something remarkable happened. The mother of Walter Rathenau wrote a letter to the mother of Ernst Teckel. And she says, tell your son that if he comes before the court and he asks for forgiveness and he says sorry, and he asks for forgiveness in front of the Almighty, in front of God, then I am ready to forgive him just as God is ready to forgive him. I can read you the words that she wrote, a very beautiful letter, very powerful letter for a woman who lost her son, who was such an amazing person. And she says, if he would have known my son, he would have taken the gun and pointed it at himself. Anyways, the court case happened, the trial happened, and Ernst Teckel apologized, and he also said, in fact, that he was trying to go away, and he regretted being the driver before it happened, and they threatened to kill him, and that's why he was. And between those two things, he was sentenced to 14 years in prison. He served 5 years in prison where he studied Hebrew, and he learned the Hebrew language and about Judaism and about Walter Rathenau, and found out what an amazing person was. And then, when he was released, he joined the Legion forces, fighting the Nazis, fighting the extremists and Hitler. And then in 1940, when the Nazis took over and conquered France, he snuck into Marseille, and he helped Jews who didn't have money get passports and sneak out to Spain and other places. And he saved 700 Jews. And in fact, he told someone in the forces, Legion of Forces, where he was earlier, he said that the letter that Walter Rathenau's mother wrote to him is the most prized possession he has. And he saved 700 Jewish people, all because this mother had it within her to forgive. Forgive doesn't mean you don't expect justice. And forgive doesn't mean that the wrong wasn't done. But not all of us could be like Walter Rathenau's mother. But we can all find within ourselves to let go of resentment, to let go of hate, to find love within our heart. You know, some people say, how can it be, Rabbi? You tell me, don't hold a grudge. But then God says in the Ten Commandments, Kel Kana, that I am a God who revenges. who takes revenge. So God takes revenge. So you don't want me to take revenge? So many people laugh at it and they say, look at the God who says he takes revenge. It creates people who take revenge. But the truth is the opposite. Because we know that God takes revenge, and because we know that God will punish those who need to be punished, and that eventually the right thing will happen, and because we have faith that not always do we see and understand what happens, it allows us not to be vengeful. It allows us not to have a grudge, because we have faith in God. And that's why God says, Kel Kana, I will do what has to be done. You let go of the grudges. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have an army. That doesn't mean we shouldn't protect ourselves. That doesn't mean we shouldn't stand up to bigots and anti-Semites. But it means that in our own life, you know that neighbor, you know that friend, you know that cousin you haven't called in 10 years because you're harboring a grudge about the wedding they made and they might have not invited you, or the 50th birthday party they made and you weren't invited, or the gift you never got for your child. Pick up the phone. Don't let them live rent-free in your mind. Pick up the phone and say, you know what? I'm not going to harbor a grudge. I'm going to tell them what happened. I'm going to tell them why I feel what I feel, and I'm going to let go of it. And when you do that, you bring unity, especially amongst the Jewish people. We have so many people who hate us. So today we have 72 years that we're in the land of Israel. But do we love each other? Do we cherish each and every Jew for who they are? That's what we need. We need the unity. We need to let go of our grudges and love each other. I always tell to my kids, it's the hardest thing. It's so hard when someone hurts you. You feel hurt. It's not easy to let go of that hurt. It's not easy to say, I'm not going to get back at them. But you'll be a happier person. You'll be a happier life. That's what the Torah is telling us with these commandments. All the commandments in the Torah are there for us to live a happy, fulfilled life, to be able to grow, to be able to enjoy the gift of life. We could only do that when we allow the grudges to leave, when we don't hate in our heart. When I was a little kid, I might have told you this, but my mother always told me, sometimes I'd be quick to get angry and be upset and do something. My mother says, Mendy, always be quick to apologize. Always pick up the phone and apologize to someone. She says it's not worth it. It doesn't make you smaller, it makes you bigger. So if there's one thing I can convey to all of us today, as Am Yisrael, as one nation, as one people, don't hold a grudge. Don't take revenge. Don't have resentment. Don't hate in your heart. Call that person you haven't spoken to in 10, 15, 2 years, 1 year. Now's the time, as we find a new reality of life, as we're in quarantine, as the world is upside down, it's an opportunity for us to take it, not even to be embarrassed. You don't have to be embarrassed when you call your cousin after 10 years, because they'll understand. Because they'll say, oh, they're calling now because of COVID and what's going on in the world. People are rethinking things. It gives us an opportunity to do that which we need courage to do. Have a good day. Tell me a good story. Message me something good that you'll do today in this honor as we celebrate unity in Am Yisrael and love for our fellow Jews as the Torah asks us. Take care. Bye.